Can I see him?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Daddy.
I thumped him right in the middle. He ran away with my arrow in him.
Can you try to find him?
Yeah, I'm gonna come home and get the side by side before I go look for him. All right.
Can we come? We want to come.
All right. I'll be at home in a little bit.
Bet.
So the 2022 season came. I knew there was a few things that I needed to do. One, I needed to lease the land, which I was able to accomplish. Two, I needed to put in some food to try to keep the deer and the does around a little longer to potentially have a chance at a mature deer. And three, I needed to place cell cams in those perfect locations where I didn't need to go in and disturb. So I placed about a dozen cell cams. I stayed out of there after I did all the food plot stuff. But on these cell cams, instead of putting them on instant like the past, I put them on hourly. So what that accomplished me to do was not to change the batteries. Didn't have to worry about the batteries. Matter of fact, most of these cameras, I have not changed the batteries in 3 months. So ran all cell cams, but going into the season, I wanted to put a food plot and I wanted to put a bail blind on that food plot. So the food plot, I talked to the owner. He said, yes, go ahead, put a food plot in. Hindsight's 2020. I should have made it bigger. I could have made it 2 acres. I made it 1, right under 1. And I went in there in a brome field that had been mowed the year before. So there wasn't a lot of woody vegetation. There was some honeysuckle was growing, some autumn olive. But I went in there and I kill sprayed everything once. Came back the second time. I rented a rototiller from my buddy on the back of a John Deere like garden tractor. Worked out really well. With doing that, and then I planted right after we rototilled. I planted Roundup Ready beans, and I was hoping the deer would just annihilate the beans, which they did. And then I threw more Mean Bean Pro on top of that, and then late July, I think it was more mid-July, I planted Evolved Habitat's Turnip Pro and Rackham radishes. The deer absolutely hammered these things, and here's a few pictures to show you just how well they worked. As you can see, this deer, he was the second on my hit list. He was daylighting in this plot all of September. He loved the turnips. I had one instance where I had Carlos on the turnip plot that I know about. Looking back, I should have had more cameras on that plot. I only had 2. But going into the season, I knew I needed to kill Carlos or have an opportunity before October 8th, because the year previously he took off and came back across the river to his little safety zone. So the first hunt for him was on October 1st. We had a cold front come through, and I sat up in the tree stand kind of where he was frequenting, where I had a lot of trail camera pictures of him and some sweet video in the summer of him walking out into the beans, eating the beans, hanging out with the bachelor group. So this is his summer core area, and he transitions to the fall across the river. Very few people hunt in this area. I'd say it's probably 600-700 acres. We got a lot of private stuff around it, but I don't know that too many people knew about him. But what I do know is I needed to get a crack at him before October 8th. So October 7th came, and we had a couple things going for me. The corn was kind of coming out to the north where I thought potentially he might be, because he liked the corn, as big bucks do. They like living in the corn because of safety and because of the food source. There's waterways through there. I mean, he could be laying up in there, and that's exactly where he was. But I didn't know that, 100%. I thought he might have transitioned back, because it was a 7 to 8 day cycle that he would do he started to do once he hit that kind of that almost fall range. He started to cycle 7 to 8 days, and I think it was a linear line based on some studies with collared bucks. A lot of these people think they're making a loop when they're actually making these linear lines kind of back and forth, and they kind of have outliers. But with that being said, there's only one camera that I was getting them on, and that was at the point of this bean field leading to the corn, which wasn't too far away. So that's where I thought he was going potentially, but he kind of disappeared 7 to 8 days, and I was waiting for him to reappear. So that goes October 7th shows up, right? And I got everything going against me as far as the wind. My bale blind is right in the middle of the food plot. Right downwind is the food plot. So I needed to do a few things to, potentially have a crack at either the Big Ten or Carlos. So what happened was I went in there, rode my e-bike in as fast as I could, ditched it in the trees, hit the first scrape I hit. It was pretty cool. You can see me using the buck rut, hitting the rope scrape. I walk over, set up the GoPro in front of me, and then I hit 2 more scrapes with this buck rut. So I wanted them to smell that instead of me. I also sprayed down with HS dirt, so I wanted to smell like dirt, but I always wash my body. I always brush my teeth. It's one thing a lot of people don't do is they have dragon breath, and I use dry wash. So get out in the blind.
Hey guys, it is October 7th, and I'm sitting in the bale blind for the first sit this year. Sat last night in the tree and had a bunch of little bucks come by, but there's already 2 deer out in the field right now, and one's a little buck, but the pressure's going through the roof. It's our first real good cold front. It's supposed to get down to freezing tonight, so hopefully with a little luck, get something shot. I'm in close quarters. I got a GoPro sitting out, face me. I got 2 DS4Ks. Maybe I get something to step in front and get a shot, but you can hear that fan in the background. It's my Zero Trace portable. So the deer are directly downwind. I thought I was going to crosswind them, but they really don't care. So I sprayed a bunch of this stuff, buck rut, all over my rope. It actually got a picture of me. It was kind of cool. Over another scrape, and actually 2 other scrapes. So all this set is what they're spelling. And then I sprayed down. So and I got that unit. So I am pushing the limits on the wind, and we've talked about this before on the deer's wind. I know the big brow 8's in here. I don't know if I'll shoot him, but I'm trying to see if Carlos comes back where I think he's at, or that Big Ten. So we'll see. They're gonna want to eat tonight. I'm between the turnips and standing beans, so I'm gonna be quiet now. Should probably check and see if any more deer out in the field.
An hour and a half before dark, the barometer's rising, the temperature's plummeting. It's a magical time. The first real good cold front of October. So the deer start coming out, just filing one after another, right in the middle of this food plot, right downwind. They knew something was up. They could smell that buck rut, that's for sure. And so they all kind of meandered down, hit some scrapes, walked down at the end of the field. And Carlos Jr., which I call Jack D, looks just like him. He came out, hit a scrape, and just a beautiful looking deer. He's probably 4, maybe 3, mid 40s, maybe 150, just a beautiful looking deer. Anyway, he came out, fed at the end of the plot. They kept, trying to smell me or the buck rut. So, I don't know, half an hour later, a doe comes through right in front of me, and I turn on the GoPro, and she gets right downwind, and she knew something wasn't right, and there was 2 scrapes on each side of the bale blind, and I nuked that with the buck bomb, and she hit that smell and then just kind of took off running. I look over, another doe's coming in the beans, working in the food plot, and on the 2 track, there's Carlos. 170 inches of him walking right to me, and I knew his frame because I've been studying it. I've been watching him for years. 7, 8-year-old whitetail walking out with an hour of light left. He hits this rope scrape. My heart is skipping out of my beat. I didn't get pictures of it, but I got pictures of him walking to the scrape. He is like this on the rope scrape. And as you can imagine, I mean, this frame is huge. So he hits that. I'm in the bail blind. I have half the window down, as you can see in the trail cam pics. I unhook the window, turn my GoPro on that's facing me. I turn my camera arm that direction. Cause I'm thinking I'm hunting a 160-inch 10-pointer, and Carlos steps out, right? October 7th. Turn my camera on in that general direction. I should have zoomed in a little bit, but at that time I wanted to get a shot. As soon as he hit that scrape, he started paralleling me. So that scrape was 30 yards. I drew my bow back, and I got my stabilizer out after turning my little Tacticam 6.0 on. And I didn't stop him, which I'm glad he stopped because the blind was kind of shaking. So he stopped at 30 yards, and I let him have it. And when my first thought is, I put a good shot on him.
I just shot Carlos. I just shot Carlos. Guys, I don't know if I got that on film. I don't know where I hit him. I'm left-handed, so thank God he hit that scrape. I have a DS4K face that way. I think I put it in his pump station, baby. That's my number one. I hit him good. I thumped him. I gotta call Jen.
Which, in the end, it happens. I hit him back, but he was quartering away. And as soon as I hit, he turned. That arrow went up behind his rear leg, went up and hit, and came out the second to last rip. So got all those goodies in there, but I didn't know exactly. I walked down, I looked for my arrow after calling my wife and talking to my son. They were ecstatic.
Hello?
Hey, I just shot Carlos. He came out of the trail right where I have a mock scrape, and I just thumped him.
Oh, can I see him?
Oh, I'm so excited. I thumped him right in the middle. He ran away with my arrow in him.
Can you try to find him?
Yeah, I'm gonna come home and get the side-by-side before I go look for him. All right.
Can we come? We want to come.
All right. I'll be at home in a little bit.
Went, looked for my arrow. It had to be in him. There's no blood based on the level of the trajectory. That blood would have to come up pretty high. Couldn't find any hair. So I went back, came back to the garage, got on the computer, plugged in the SD card. Jesse came over and we watched the footage. On the Tacticam was pretty cool. The Tacticam is a little lower on the bow, so as you can see, there's some foxtail in the food plot. But I did have full, zoomed out of my DSLR. So there's some cool footage. It would have been really cool if you could have seen him doing this right here. But morning, guys. Josh, Jesse, and I are heading out to go looking for Carlos. We put an arrow in him last night. I think it was kind of back, guts, liver, maybe one lung, and but it stuck in the opposite rib. So we were at it early this morning. We're gonna go take the side-by-side around and get on first blood. Let him sit overnight. It was 29 degrees when I got in the truck this morning, so it was pretty cold. Probably the best frost so far this year. There's a bunch of frost in the mailbox. So hopefully we have a deer at the end of this blood trail, but there's definitely an arrow in him, and it's got a pretty good sized cut. So that's my camera. I don't think it's that angle to be able to see him. Where you
I don't think it angled. Last night he walked out right here and hit this scrape. And I was in my blind. You know, I had the one window halfway down, I had to unbuckle it. And it was kind of a last ditch effort, but I hit him right down here. So Josh and Jesse, you're gonna help me look. We're just gonna take it slow. Josh just smelled some blood. All over. This way. Where's the blood? If you look right over there, there's some blood.
No freaking way.
There's no blood flying.
Holy cow. There it is. Holy.
Look how wide he is.
Dude.
Look how old he is. Dude, that face.
Look at this deer. Oh my god. Holy. Look how wide he is.
He was dead last night.
He was totally dead last night. The arrow must be. Dude.
Not a speck of blood.
No, not a speck of blood.
We might be able to backtrack him because the arrow's kicked out. So
Oh my gosh, Gary, congrats.
Dude, that is insane. Look how wide he is.
You gotta send those teeth in. I'm curious. It's insanely old.
Oh my goodness. Well, we got him. He didn't make it very far. Matter of fact, I might have heard him crash yesterday.
Carlos's Sheds 2017. Picked this one up right after he dropped, and this was a couple years after, hence the color. Carlos 2018 through a split. I did not find his other side. (2019) he blew up. I found both the sheds that year, but I was actively hunting him, and I really didn't know where he was going at the time. I'd seen him come, seen him on the road, and had a few trail camera pictures of him, but he's starting to get a little bit bigger. (2020) he was on the hit list for sure. I picked up both of these sheds shortly after he dropped them. Just a solid 8-pointer. (2021) I picked up his 2021 set, and I was assuming he's 7 here.
Well, I've been looking a while for this shed. and I kind of crossed off all the places that it could be. And I walked within 15 yards of it, 10 yards. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I get about 2 hours to walk before I gotta get Jace, so pretty sure it's his right side. It's big. I'm pretty excited about this. Carlos's right side has been found. I went on Hunt Onyx and put all these places I found his sheds in the past, and this is a different place, but I knew he was coming up to this green field to eat, and let's walk up on it. Thank you, Lord.
Potentially 6, but I'm going to go with 7 just based on his other antlers. And I had some really cool videos and trail camera pictures of him by the pond. One of them in particular, probably one of my favorite ones. He's walking out of the reed canary grass right to the pond. So he was on top of the hit list that year. He just disappeared October 8th and never got him back on that farm. And in 2022, he put everything together here, and he blew up as an 8-year-old Iowa whitetail. He had trash, his beams kind of going down, a little split here, and he kept some of the velvet on, but he slipped up, and I was there, and I got lucky. Thanks for watching.
Click subscribe.